Well, hello and welcome to this week's Angling News KZN Fishing Report. Guys, it's been another exciting week on the KZN front. And not just on the KZN front, we have covered last week's tackle trade show. We mentioned it on our show last week. And guys, we are in for a treat. The innovation that is coming out from the tackle industry is mind-blowing, but that's going to be for another show. So make sure to hit that subscribe button because you do not want to miss out on the latest tackle that our country has to offer. For now, we are about the KZN Fishing Report and what's been coming out. So it's been a phenomenal week as we have got catches from the north to the south. Inland slow down a little bit. There are cards being held close to their chest because this weekend kicks off the Albert Falls Bass Classic, which we will be part of as well. But apart from that, coastal-wise, it's been fantastic. Now, this weekend is not looking so great weather condition-wise. However, there are a few spaces to go and fish, and we are going to tell you all about it over the next 8 to 10 minutes. But before we do, guys, shout out to our sponsors, the Kingfisher. Look out for their products. They are looking really, really exciting. Look out for our YouTube shorts where we've got Gilbert Foxcroft talking about the latest innovations from Kingfisher and Daiwa. Apart from that, guys, huge shout out to our sponsors, CMH, Nissan, Proton, and Mitsubishi. They were the ones that was getting us up to Johannesburg and getting this trade show covered. So shout out to our sponsors. Always remember, support those that support you. Now let's get into this week's show. Guys, starting off down the south coast, Adam has been flooding me with content with all this week's catches. Now look at this cob. It is a massive beauty of a fish. However, this was caught from Port St. John's. We've got catches from Port St. John's all the way down to Port Shepstone, and this is what they look like. Guys, there's been some great catches of cob, garrick, and grunter. The guys down the south coast are having an absolute blast with the non-edibles and edible species, and even on the offshore side, they've been spinning for snook and getting a good amount of them. There's been a few nice garrick off Margate, but that's purely on live bait. No reports of them coming out on plugs, and if you're looking for that non-edibles, well, gray sharks and blue skates has been the flavor down there, and that's more so on your Port Edward side. There's been some phenomenal rockfish, and guys, there's also been some bass down at the Harding area. So the conditions and the catches has been favorable throughout the week. This weekend though, it's not looking so favorable. However, you can go and fish those river areas to be blocked up for the wind. So guys, this was also the conditions down the south coast. Like we said, it has been fantastic throughout the week. Great footage sent in by Adam. And this is what the conditions were like when the fish was coming out. Now, there is that cold front coming through. It's not looking so fantastic. There's a lot of wind coming through, but we will still have reports next week of some fish that will come out because, as we know, it's not that the fish don't feed in the wind. We just don't like fishing in the wind. So get out there and get those catches in. Now, guys, moving on down to Warner Beach, where I've got a report from Gary where the garrick are still on the bite, looking really fantastic. No signs of SARS. There was just a small pocket that came through on Saturday, but it's been very quiet on that end since then. However, there has been some great catches of stumpies and brusher, but that's mainly at night. Gary says at night, you can't even miss a stumpy. Now, moving on down to Durban, guys, it's been fantastic on all fronts. On the surf, in the harbor, as well as offshore. On your surf side, garrick are still on the bite. There's been a very good amount of grunter that's coming on. I'm really enjoying this grunter run over this last couple of weeks, as well as some stumpies and gray sharks and diamonds. And if you're looking for some of that shad in Durban, well, I've got some footage of shad coming out at Ushaka. So that's been a very good place to catch some shad in that basin being blocked off from the wind. In the harbor, grunter are on the bite. Guys, up to 7 kilos. That's been some good catches coming throughout the week, as well as the kingfish. And strangely enough, that kingfish is not being caught on lures. They are being caught on bottom baits. And when I say nice kingfish, guys, up to 5 kilos has been reported. On your offshore side, great news, the beck are full swing. They're really on the bite at the moment. The bottom fishing is still producing the goods, and there's been a few snook that's been caught, as well as the garrick still lingering around. So guys, while you're out there, respect those bag and size limits on the garrick. I think everyone has managed to get their quota by now. So you know what? Fish for the future. Now, moving up to the north coast. So guys, on the north coast, the Garrick are still on full swing. There's a fair amount of scratching species that's been coming out all week from your blacktail carantine, bronze bream, and guys, we've got a great detailed report from Jesse on our podcast this week as to how to fish effectively if you are scratching. And the guys are really getting some good rewards with fish about 2 to 5 kilos on that scratching side. So if you are fishing light, it is going to be absolutely fantastic to do that, especially now, August, windy season. This windy season over the past few years has been staying longer than just August. It goes on to mid to late September. And with this windy conditions, you know what, the fish are still on the bite, So what you want to kind of do is head out to those gully areas. It's still fishable. It's still really fishable, and you're going to have a treat with that scratching species. On your offshore side, there has been a few snook that's been coming out, but still the flavor of the week has been the keelback. Now, moving up to Mtinzini Banks, I could not speak to Nick this week. I'm not sure what happened. Hopefully, he's having a blast with some cob or Garrick, but we will let you know next week, so subscribe. Now, moving up to Richards Bay. Guys, Garrick are still in full bloom, so guys, please, once again, respect those size limits. We are getting reports of guys that are taking more than the quota. That is simply not on. We are not going to have the spoils next season. Now, apart from that, Garrick, kingfish in the harbor, and I have heard some reports of some tuna and snook on the offshore side. Moving up to round off the saltwater report in St. Lucia and Cape Vidal. Well, once again, the carp are still on the bite at night. There's been the odd shad, the odd Garrick, but more so that snook on your offshore side. So guys, that rounds off the saltwater report. Now moving on to the freshwater side of KZN. So guys, on your freshwater side, the Midlands, well, it's no surprise that the bass reports has been very quiet this week. I did have Jesse send me 1 or 2 images. I'm not sure where he's fishing. He's on leave for a week, but he has got some nice tilapia and a lot of bass, but on the smaller side. But when I say a lot of bass, this guy is getting like 30 bass a session. So it's good fun out there. As for that bigger bass, well, we know the anglers are keeping their cards close to the chest. It's the Albert Falls Classic starting off. Prize giving is today, Thursday, fishing over Friday, Saturday. I will be out there giving you a full rundown of what's been going on. So unfortunately, not too much reports on the bass side. On your trout side, well, it's a week away from river fishing, and Jan reports that the Bushman's River is looking absolutely crystal clear and very low. So guys, that heat wave has already started up in the Midlands. Time to get those rain boots out and start doing some rain dancing, because we're going to need some water to come up. Now, the flavor of the week, or the highlight more than anything else, has been the scalies, more so in your Amkumas River. They are moving up to the shallows. But guys, these images just goes to show that the scalies are in full swing. And going back into the trout side, on your Stillwater side, the Tops Trophy Challenge took place last week, and there were 162 fish that came to net. Guys, Jan has the full report on our podcast show, but for now, there's 1 or 2 images of the fish that came out. So that rounds off our KZN fishing report for this week. All in all, it has been a very productive week from the anglers. Everyone seemed to have those rods bending, a few reels screaming. We've managed to get thrilled by tackle. If you haven't seen any of this as yet, look out for them on our YouTube shorts. I will be doing a full report of the tackle trade show soon on our channel. And for now, also, if you're on TikTok, go and check out some of those videos over there where the wholesalers are talking about what their new picks for the season are. And guys, I can tell you, there are some phenomenal tackle that is coming out. There has finally been no more just cosmetic upgrades, but some major R&D going into the products, and it is mind-blowing what these guys have brought out. So until next week, always remember, subscribe, keep that fishing area tidy, respect those bag limits, and fish for the future.